What if everything you believed about becoming enlightened was wrong? What if awakening, the thing so many people chase in therapy sessions, self-help books, and silent retreats, doesn't feel like bliss, but like going insane? No one tells you this part, that the moment you start to really see clearly, when the fog of conditioning starts to lift, it doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like psychological chaos, because the truth doesn't comfort at first. It shatters. You wake up not into a world of light and calm, but into one where your old self is disintegrating, where meaning collapses, and where everything you trusted starts to look like a carefully crafted illusion. And for a while, you wonder if you're losing your mind. This is the cost of seeing clearly. It's the moment you stop living in stories, and stories, for most people, are what keep them sane. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once said, "People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought which they seldom use." Awakening begins the moment you dare to think outside the narrative that was handed to you. But there's a price. Because the mind, in its attempt to protect you, doesn't want clarity. It wants comfort. It wants familiarity. It wants the lies it already knows how to survive. The initial stages of awakening can feel like derealization, when the world feels distant, fake, like a dream you can't wake up from. People often report feeling detached from reality, like they're watching life happen from behind glass. Why? Because the reality we've known was never real to begin with. It was a simulation of roles, expectations, and inherited beliefs. And the moment we break through it, there's no solid ground. You start questioning everything. Why do I believe this? Where did this thought come from? Is this emotion even mine? Or was it given to me? And as those questions multiply, your identity begins to fragment. You realize you're not the roles you play. You're not your job. You're not your childhood wounds. You're not even your thoughts. This is the psychological death of the ego. And ego death isn't poetic. It's terrifying, because the ego isn't just your pride or persona. It's the entire framework that gives you the illusion of control. When that crumbles, you feel exposed, vulnerable, like a house with no walls standing in the middle of a storm. In clinical terms, this experience can mirror symptoms of psychosis. But here's the critical difference. True awakening doesn't detach you from reality. It detaches you from illusion. It brings you back to what asterisk is asterisk, raw, unfiltered, and often uncomfortable. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, once warned, "Enlightenment is not imagining figures of light, but making the darkness conscious." That's the work. Not running from darkness, but walking into it, naming it, sitting with it until it stops controlling you from the shadows. And that process, by nature, looks and feels like madness, because it's the opposite of everything we've been taught to value: stability, certainty, belonging. Think about it. A society built on conformity cannot welcome someone who sees through the game, because the moment you wake up, you stop participating in the script. You stop chasing the things that kept you manageable. Money, status, approval, distraction. You stop numbing yourself, and that's when the real pain rushes in. It's the pain of unprocessed childhood memories, the grief of unlived years, the realization that so much of what you called you was just a mask stitched together by survival. And for most people, that kind of awakening is too much. That's why so many spiritual paths become escape hatches, where people chase transcendence instead of integration. They want to ascend, not descend. But the real work is asterisk in the descent asterisk. In Greek mythology, there's a story about the hero Orpheus descending into the underworld to retrieve his beloved Eurydice. But the condition is clear. He must not look back. That's what awakening feels like. You descend into yourself to retrieve something sacred, your soul, your truth. But if you look back too soon, if you cling to who you were, you lose it. The madness you feel is not pathology. It's the unraveling of illusion. You're not breaking down, you're breaking asterisk through asterisk. But here's the paradox. You can't wake up and stay the same. You can't see the machinery and pretend you don't. So your relationships shift. Your desires shift. Your very perception of time and meaning starts to dissolve. That's the part no one warns you about, that after the aha moment, there's grief, grief for who you were, grief for how deeply you betrayed yourself to fit in, grief for the years spent asleep, and yet, this grief is sacred. It means you're alive. Most people numb themselves because they think life is about being happy. But awakening teaches you something deeper, that being asterisk whole asterisk is more important than being happy. That feeling everything, even the madness, is proof that you're coming home to yourself. In ancient traditions, madness was often seen not as illness, but initiation, a rite of passage, a breakdown of the old self to make way for the sacred. Shamans, mystics, prophets, they all walked through this fire, not because they were special, but because they were willing to lose who they were for who they could become. And you're standing at that threshold now. If you feel like you're losing your mind, question this. What exactly are you losing? A life built on people, pleasing, a belief system that kept you small, an identity shaped by trauma, not truth, good. Let it burn, because beyond the madness is something unshakable. A clarity that doesn't shout, but whispers. A peace that isn't passive, but powerful. And a self not made, but remembered. You're not alone in this. Many walk this path, even if they don't speak of it, because truth isolates before it liberates. But liberation asterisk does asterisk come, not through perfection, not through pretending, but through surrender. Let the old mind go. Let the old self die. Let the madness come, and when it passes, because it will, you'll realize, it wasn't madness at all, it was awakening. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, don't let it end here. Reflect, comment below with your thoughts, your struggles, or your moments of clarity. Like the video if it resonated, and subscribe for more explorations into the raw, often uncomfortable, but always real, journey of waking up. You are not broken. You are breaking through. Keep going.